thing is when I looked into your eyes, I sensed something so sincere in your disguise. You whisper secrets I hear only in my dreams. Then I wake up to your deadly smoke screen. I'll wait patiently while you play your game, cause in the end I'll be the winner all the same. You'll see clearly when this all comes to a stop. I'll be the one blowing kisses from the top. So baby stop. You're surrounded. I've got my love around you. One wrong move and that'll end you. You should surrender. You'll never win unless you give in. So stop, baby stop. You're surrounded. I've got my love around you. One wrong move and that'll end you. You should surrender. You'll never win unless you give in. So won't you give our love a chance? Or do you only wanna dance?
Hey y'all, and welcome to my channel. For all of those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Tia Joy, and to all of my returners and subscribers, you already know how you doing, how you doing. It's so good to see you. Now today's dance movie review is Dirty Dancing Dos. Now before I get into this movie review, I need all of you to hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Okay, hit the subscribe button because I want you to also hit the bell so you can know when I upload a new video. Now this is the thing, when it comes to making a sequel to a movie that's already was great, it already has good ratings, and they make a second one, I'm very iffy about, okay, are they going to have the same characters? How's it going to be? And for this one, they changed up the characters. It is actually a true story, and I didn't even know that until I did some research, and it's like, oh, okay. Because at first I was like, a second one, like, why? But to watch and see that it's actually a true story, and it's actually the story of Joanne Jansen, who is a co-producer and also the choreographer of this movie as well. And it's about her story of her moving to Cuba, and she ends up meeting a Cuban boy. So it's interesting to see that even though with the first one it both kind of looks the same, the whole plot is literally the same, but to know with this one is actually a true story of a girl who actually did go to Cuba and meet a Cuban boy, and it was also around the same time of the revolution that was happening in Cuba as well. I actually took a back seat. It's like, okay, let me watch this and learn and see what this movie is all about. You cannot go wrong on a true story. And the girl who is the main character, her name is Kate, which is played by Romala, am I saying this right? Romala Garay. And she meets this guy, Javier, who is played by Diego Luna. And this guy, he is a nightclub dancer, but he also is a waitress at the hotel that they stay at, and she ends up meeting him, and she ends up falling in love with Cuban dancing. Now one thing I could definitely say is for the first one, as you see, they learn salsa dancing, but for this one, or another form of Latin dance, and for this one they actually go to the country of where Latin dance is. So I think that's very cool how they did focus that on there. So it's like, okay, we danced it, now let's go to the actual place where it got birthed. So it's cool to see all the dancing, the different type of Latin style of dancing in this movie, which is great. So also we have in this movie, we have Susie, who's played by Mika Boredom, if I'm saying that right. Mika Borum, my bad. And we also have Jonathan Jackson, who plays James Phelps, who's kind of like the dork, but he is a rich kid who lives at the same place or hotel they stay there, and he has a wealthy family. He comes from a wealthy family too. So you get the parents who's trying to hook up Kate with James because he's a wealthy like they want to make sure the daughter is secure. The same thing actually happened in Dirty Dancing, same thing. So the first one, so this one they were keeping that going. But the thing that I actually like about this one, especially with the parents, who is played by who is Jeannie Miller, who is played by Cella Ward, and then we have the father, Burt Miller, who is played by John Slattery. Sorry, y'all. But I love it because her parents were ballroom dancers. So the fact that she is born who has two parents who does ballroom dancing, for her wanting to do the same thing but take it to another level, I think that's really cool, because you see one generation doing something, and then you see the next generation, which is Kate, and she wants to do it too. So I think that's really, really cool to see in this movie, is that passed down. Because in the first one, you didn't see the parents dance. They were just very strict parents who had a bright future for their girls. And this one, you see the mother and the father, they're actual dancers. So it's actually in the bloodline. But they end up stopping because they end up having kids, end up getting a little injury, so they just could not continue doing what they're doing. So I'm about to get into some of my favorite scenes that I like about this movie. I think this movie was okay. It's probably not one of my top favorite dance movies, but I mean, it's okay. So my first favorite scene, and it's very small, but I just love it. It's the father and the daughter when they're dancing. So you see the Kate, and you see her dad. You see her dad, Bert, and they're watching the old clips of her parents dancing. And so he ended up getting up and then start dancing with her. And so it shows that this girl does have some dance background versus baby. In the first one, she didn't have no dancing at all. But for her, she had some dance background because her parents were dancers, and she learned ballroom because of them. So that was really, it's just a sweet moment to see a father and daughter dance. That's why I really like this scene, because it's very rare that you see dance movies, or a lot of movies, and you see the reaction between the father and the daughter. And this one is just a special moment to see him dancing with her, because it's moments like that that are precious, that you cannot get back. And you can tell that her father is, you could tell for Kate, her father's her first love. And it's the same thing in Dirty Dancing, the first one. You could tell that the father and Baby, they had a great close relationship. But this one, it was more, their language was dance. So them speaking that together and having that special moment, I actually really like it. Now, my second favorite scene is when she needs some help with her dancing. So as you see Kate, when she's dancing, she's a little scared for Javier to touch her. So guess who came in? Patrick Swayze. Yay! So we have Johnny who comes back, which is a great surprise, because it's like you see him in the first one, but now you see him in the second one to show that he still got it. He's still doing his dance. So to see him help her out and them two have an encounter, and it's almost like he's passing down the knowledge from what he knows on to her, who is the next generation, because in this one he is older, like he's literally older. So to see him pass that on to her and get her out of that, don't be scared, it's a connection between you and your partner, and you just gotta trust him. And just to see him exchange words with her to help her and to encourage her to also do the competition, I thought that was really cool. So it's almost like tying that first one and that second one together, and that person that brings it in is Patrick or Johnny, which helps push her to really go for it with the Cuban style dancing. So I absolutely love that. My third favorite scene is the competition dance. I love this because out of everyone, they did the doggone thing. They were the best ones. In my opinion, they should have never went to the final round. They should have just won the whole thing. Like, seriously. And then on top of that, we saw Maya up in there. So if you a 90s kid like I am, I love me. I grew up listening to Maya on the radio. So to see her make an appearance in this movie, it was really, really cool to see that, because the girl still got vocals. So she was just so adorable. And then you have Kate and Javier on the floor. They're just getting down. And they just should have won the whole competition, period. There should have been no finals. Like, they won. It was very obvious based off of the routine that they were doing that they won. So for them to go to another fight, be in the top 3, I'm like, really? Did they really need to do that? They should have got the whole prize, because they killed it out there. They were literally the best ones. They pretty much stole everyone's eye. Everyone else, they were doing stuff, but them, they really did. They really stole the whole show. They should have won. But the lesson that I've learned in this movie is just to not give up and to go after your dreams. I know for Javier, he has a dream that he wants to accomplish. And my thing is, if you're talented and you're great at something, just go for it. And I know she definitely wanted to encourage him, and for him to win the competition, they will be able to. She wanted to help him to go to America so their family could be safe, because of what's going on with the government, with issues with people who live in the country. It was also good to know what was going on in Cuba with the revolution. And I'm not really a history person, but for them to highlight and talk about that and show that in the movie about their country and what they were dealing with, it was really good to see as well. So it wasn't just only about dance, but it's also educational about the history of what was going on around that time in the 50s with Cuba and Batista and the government, and how things were being run around that time. So that was really good to know, and I'm glad that they highlighted and started get into that about what was going on at that time. Go after your dreams and chase after them, and don't be afraid. And also, the other lesson I've learned is, once again, as far as the lesson that happened in the first one, is the parents always want what's best for the kids. So they think they know when they really, really don't. And I understand that parents wants to have that security for the children, but at the end of the day, if children have a different path from what the parents have, parents' job is just to respect it, and knowing that it's okay for children, for us kids. I know for me, if I make mistakes, if I don't do things that are not everything that what my parents want, but the fact that I still have the support regardless, I think that really helps. For her, I know that the mom had a bright future for her and wanted to make sure that she's secure with her children and the legacy. But at the same time, I mean, things happen, so we can't control of who we fall in love with. And she fell in love with the guy, and no, he's not rich, but she's happy. And it also shows that you can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't make you happy. And that's wonderful that your life is set up to a specific way to live, but that can only last for only a certain amount of time, where it's like, enough, I can't do this. I can't fall into what this whole generation of just marrying people just because they have money, marrying people because they rich. Like, everybody's not about that life. Me, I don't care if he has all the money in the world, but as long as he's doing what he loves and he has a passion, he's going after it, and he loves God, then we're good. Like, it doesn't have to be much. So I just think it's just wise that for me, for my children, I want what's best for them, but also if they have a heart for something, to encourage them and be by their side. And I don't want them to go behind my back and do things behind my back and they can't communicate. Because with Kate, she wasn't able to communicate with her parents because she already know her parents wasn't going to approve, because they already had their mind set up. So I like the fact that she's like, I have my own thing, and I love y'all and I respect you guys, but I mean, it is what it is. So that's all the things that I've learned. Plans do change, and there's nothing wrong with changing plans. So yeah. So definitely want to give a thank you to all the dancers. Like, everyone in this movie did an amazing job. Thank you also the choreographer, who is Joanne Jansen, if I'm saying that, Joanne Jansen, and her assistant Miranda Garrison, who also was an assistant for the first one with Kenny Ortega and Alan Walls, and also Alejandro Berrios. Like, good job to everyone. Amazing job. That's all I have for this dance movie review. Tell me if you liked Dirty Dancing 2. Like I said, it's a great movie. It's not one of my top favorite movies. I didn't even know they really had one until a little bit later. But it is a good movie. And it is a different side of... It's a different story, but then again, I feel like it was almost like the same. Like, the concept was the same, as far as you have the rich family living in a hotel for a certain amount of time, and then you got the girl who falls in love with a worker who works for the place that they're staying at, and he teaches her dancing. Like, everything, the plot was literally like kind of the same. It wasn't really completely like 100% different from the first one. They really try to keep the thing going on. The only difference is it was just a different country, which had different rules and laws that they had to go by. But it's still not good excuse of me of saying thank you to all of the dancers who was involved and the choreographers. So you guys did an amazing job. If you like this video, hit the like button and the subscribe, and also that bell so you can know when I upload a new video. Tell me what you like about this movie. Just tell me what you think. Like, just put it in the comments below. If you didn't know the movie is out, the movie is out. So just letting you know. But thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this dance movie review. And before I leave, I will definitely make a list of all the dancers who goes in my Dancers Hall of Fame. And don't forget to make good choices. Alright, bye.